But the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
Like Netflix without Wi-Fi. The WNBA just discovered the painful truth that everything feels empty, unbearable, and almost unwatchable without Caitlin Clark. Post-season ratings are slipping 1% quicker at 2 a.m. than your phone's dying battery life. Attendance numbers collapse. Right now, the league is scrambling, desperately trying to figure out how to keep fans locked in. Did they truly disappear into thin air, or just flip over to late-night pickleball highlights? This playoff meltdown feels wilder than any reality TV reunion. And trust me, stay tuned.
Is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive.
This season was supposed to be the turning point, the one where the WNBA finally stepped out of the shadows and showed it could stand tall against the other leagues. But instead, the league seems to have tripped over its own plans, landed in a bucket of nacho cheese, and then tried to spin the mess as if it had always been part of the grand design.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle KC found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain. And
let's be real. This WNBA season has been equal parts breathtaking and heartbreaking. A commissioner acting like player health is just an optional suggestion. Injuries piling up and foul calls that felt like they came from referees squinting through shattered glasses. All of it unfolded right in front of you during the game. Chances are you probably tuned out the moment you came looking for pure fun, because her ankles have somehow been treated like public property by lawyers using her like a crash test dummy. Caitlin Clark spent more minutes on the bench than in court.
Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
When the highlight of the entire season is fans wondering if the league might collapse before the playoffs even end, you already know something feels terribly off. The fragile strip of duct tape, otherwise called "Please don't notice how bad this is the only thing holding it all together. Spoiler alert.
NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars. For the record ratings, Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to...
Speaking of awful, let's talk about the officiating. Honestly, it feels like this season's referees were plucked straight from a mall food cart at lunchtime, debating a flagrant foul while still chewing on a slice of Sbarro pizza. One looked convinced they were hired to referee a roller derby. Their consistency lands somewhere between a fortune cookie and a Magic 8-ball. A single game feels meaningless. Why fans are walking away? Someone sneezing too hard in the next matchup could get tossed. If refs carried their own stat line, it'd show turnovers and 0 questionable calls every single possession.
The WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-popping.
Let's talk injuries, because this WNBA season feels less like a basketball league and more like an orthopedic surgeon's Christmas wish list. Caitlin Clark has spent more time recovering than actually playing, mostly because defenders treat her like she owes them money. Every drive to the basket feels like a fresh episode of how hard can we smash Caitlin before the referee notices. And trust me, it's not as simple as it sounds. But this basketball apocalypse has claimed far more than Clark alone. The commissioner's office practically exhaled in relief. Good. I see. A star gone. That box checked. Angel broke down as if Sophie wasn't enough. And then she walked away. She left the WNBA midseason, shocking in other sports. Yet here it feels like an indictment of the league itself. Because really, why would anyone stay when your commissioner can't keep the game running? Refs look like clown school dropouts, and players are collapsing like flies on a scorching July day? As if prepping for the NFL, Reese probably decided Instagram was safer than risking another tackle in Caitlin Clark's role in the decline.
Not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up.
The truth is, none of this is happening in a vacuum. For years, the WNBA has begged for attention, pleading to be seen as more than a passing fad and to finally be taken seriously. But the league isn't helping itself either. The commissioner seems allergic to player safety, as if enforcing rules and protecting stars is somehow too much. Curious fans tuned in to see if the hype was real. The days before Clark's injury were golden. Suddenly, ESPN pretended to care. Sports Center rolled highlights, and Twitter users faked knowing what a pick and roll was. But when she went down, the numbers plummeted faster than Angel Reese's interest in finishing the season. It feels like the WNBA just realized the danger of making one player your entire marketing plan, while your officiating plan is letting her take hits to the face. Some defenders will say fouls are part of the game, injuries happen, and this is only a rough stretch. But let's be honest, this is beyond bad luck. The leadership is weak. Like a substitute teacher who's lost the class, the commissioner sits back as problems multiply. Instead of fixing anything, the league doubled down on neglect. Stars walk away. Fine. Referees ruin games. Who cares? Fans will stick around. Spoiler, they didn't.
At Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again, and over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
The players still standing are forced into games that look more like pro wrestling or rugby than basketball. You can't even tell if it's WWE SummerSlam or a playoff matchup. Half the time, you're waiting for someone to grab a steel chair. Meanwhile, the commissioner gives interview after interview about expansion and momentum. Sure, and every time I wear high heels, I get taller. Calling this season growth is like calling a house fire a new lighting design. It's absurd. Even as the system collapses around them, these women give everything they have. They don't deserve refs blowing whistles like it's a toddler's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their safety as an afterthought. They don't deserve a league that vanishes when times get tough, then shows up only when it benefits them. Now the season limps to its end with ratings sinking, injury lists overflowing, and fans openly wondering if the league can survive another year like this. If this was supposed to be a season of growth, congratulations. It became the biggest mess imaginable.
Clark thing, man, I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They said ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because
This Caitlin Clark situation, it's humiliating. Honestly, The things happening here are disgraceful. And now people are catching on to your tactics. Twitter is buzzing, calling out the patterns. Just look at this. Just look at it. They are saying ESPN refused to mention that the WNBA All-Star Game tanked in ratings, all because Caitlin Clark wasn't the headline. Maybe next year the commissioner will finally take players' safety seriously. Maybe officials will learn what the word foul actually means. Maybe stars like Caitlin Clark won't be forced toward retirement before a season ends. But until then, the WNBA is standing on dangerous ground. And it's not that fans don't care, it's that leadership doesn't. The league imagined ticket sales exploding, arenas packed, lines stretching outside like it was the new iPhone launch. Instead, reality looks like empty chairs echoing louder than the referee's whistle. You can almost hear popcorn sellers crying into the air, begging someone to buy a hot dog. Most games feel like tickets were dumped in the clearance aisle of a bankrupt department store. They brag that fans are growing, while in truth, people are only growing their Netflix queues instead of watching. Ticket sales have collapsed faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake, without Clark drawing crowds, Cunningham sparking drama, or anything worth replaying. And the wildest part, the league spin. Social posts keep rolling out, pretending nothing's wrong, hyping up another thrilling night of WNBA action. Meanwhile, fans flood the comments asking, "Where's the excitement? What game are you even watching?" Memes of tumbleweeds rolling across arenas spread like wildfire. When your own marketing becomes comedy material for followers who've given up hope, something is deeply broken. And don't forget the commissioner. Her performance of pretending it's all fine deserves an Oscar. She goes on TV talking about how the league has never been stronger. That's like the Titanic's captain bragging about how gorgeous the ship looks under the ocean. Sure, technically it's still afloat, but not the way you want. Like a magician waving cards while the theater burns, the commissioner has turned denial into an art. And when real criticism arrives, when fans demand answers about the injuries, the awful officiating, the total disregard for safety, she hides behind scripted statements about reviewing protocols. Medical staff appear with the urgency of a moon landing. Referees suddenly remember the rule book. The league bends over backwards to protect its newest stars. Because the truth is obvious. Without stars, no one watches. Without stars, ratings collapse. Without stars, ticket sales crater. It isn't complicated. It's basic business. The NFL gets it. Quarterbacks are treated like priceless treasures. Breathe too hard on Patrick Mahomes and a ref will throw a flag before you blink. Yet in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark gets body checked into the scorer's table and officials say, "Play on." Nothing to see here. And fans? They are furious. No wonder people are tuning OU.